Hello and welcome to
Well, I got some sports to talk about too.
Sutton Impact Family Style, episode 189. Getting very close to 200, Dad. I'm Jason.
We're getting there. I'm Bill. And I don't know where to start, so let's start with last night's World Series. Because everybody's still talking about it. Everybody's seen the replay. It was the most unbelievable, down to your last strike, a guy that's had three at-bats, and he gets a hit, and the Dodgers make an error, and then they make a misplay off the error, and the Rays scored 2 runs and walk off to win the game. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The most bizarre thing I've ever seen in a baseball game.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm excited. I'll be probably bouncing back and forth between a couple things I want to watch tonight in the Rays game. Or I'll just be taking the Rays game is good. I'll be taking it. So I'll be taking the other things I want to watch. But really good, great football weekend, college-wise and NFL-wise. Some shockers both places. I mean, I watched the Ohio State-Nebraska game yesterday.
Well, not much of a game.
And I saw them score that last touchdown with like 30 seconds to go. And at the time, I said to your mom, I said, this is really half-assed. I mean, this is really a bad message to be sending your own athletes, and you're rubbing this guy's face in, and there's no need. You're up 35 points. What's the deal? Or you're up 28 points. I forget what it was at the time. And they went in, and then it seemed like a couple hours later, he had scorer's regret and said, yeah, he shouldn't have done that. But you got to wonder, doesn't he have somebody on the sidelines that would have said something to him, or shouldn't he just realize it himself if you've ever been in that position? But it was just wrong.
College football, to me, especially Big 12 football, is basically professional football. They just don't pay the players, but everybody else gets paid.
And the way it is now with trying to get ranks, you get into the college football playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, it kills sportsmanship because you're beating somebody's brains and you're just going to keep running up the score in hopes that people say, wow, they scored a lot of points. They're really good. We should have them in the playoff.
I'm going to zag on you. I think you should always put up as many points as possible. Let the other team, their job is to stop you. They showed up to play. They didn't bring it. They deserve whatever they get. Like, it's not Little League. It's
I agree
not.
with that until you're down to the last 2 or 3 minutes. Then I think you just run the clock out and be done.
I think, and we'll talk about this in Steeler moment, being a Steeler fan and then watching the success of the Patriots and Bill Belichick with this killed until there's nothing left mentality, I'm all about just rubbing it in. Not rubbing it in, but just play to the whistle. You respect the other team. You're not going to baby them or be like, oh, you're so cute. We'll stop scoring so we don't hurt your feelings. Like, that's...
No, and I'm for that till the last 2 or 3 minutes. When there's no physical way somebody can score 4 touchdowns, you don't need to score the 5th touchdown at that point in time.
Well, then let it be like chess and let the other team lay down their queen or have their quarterback lay down in the middle of the field and that's it. But if they're going to keep playing, then I'm going to keep playing. I mean, again, it's one thing if it's Pee Wee football or, Little League baseball or something along those lines. But if it's big-time college sports, like, just play.
We're going to agree to disagree on this one.
Yeah.
I just think that there's such a thing as sportsmanship. You should do it. Speaking of sportsmanship, I'm watching the 49ers up 22-3 on the Patriots with half a minute to go in the half.
And they should keep scoring. Because as we saw from other games, the other team is not going to stop playing.
This one, yeah. I mean, you got Cam Newton, the other quarterback, and it is the Patriots, and they have one with huge deficits to come back. Plus, if you did watch the Steelers-Titans game tonight, that's a message that no lead is safe, I guess.
Yes.
Until the last 2 minutes.
I
if
suppose.
you're up 3 touchdowns.
Probably, yeah.
So, we had the big injury in Dallas last week. We had another injury today. Andy Dalton got stripped. Andy Dalton got concussed.
He did.
So he got knocked out of the game. And they're obviously not going to go anywhere now.
Well, you saw...
They're going to lay down. They're going to play. They're definitely done.
Right. Do you know what the standings are right now in that wonderful division?
Yeah, I think Washington now tied. Is everybody tied for first now?
Except for the Giants have 1 win. Everybody else has 2 wins.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's just a sad, sad division. And I've heard rumblings of the Cowboys looking at Matt Ryan and kicking the tires on Stafford. But I feel like if you're the Cowboys, like, just you're not winning it this year. It's just.
No, you're not. You're not.
I mean, I don't like the Cowboys, so go ahead throw away your draft picks. But if I'm the Cowboys, I know I probably have Dak Prescott coming back next year, most likely, and just play who was that guy that came in, Pringle or whatever his name was.
Yeah, something like that.
It got exciting because he completed that first pass for like 40 yards to Amari Cooper up the sideline, and you were like, okay, maybe a little Garner Minshew or some lightning in a bottle, but that did not happen at all.
Well, the Steelers are 6-0. Did they go 7-0?
As we discussed off air a little bit, just so everybody knows, the Steelers are now the only undefeated team in the AFC. They were up 27-7 at one point on the other undefeated team, the Titans. But they led the Titans back in, and it took a missed field goal at the end for them to pull off the victory. And next week they have Baltimore coming off, 14 days off?
Coming off a bye week, playing at home.
And granted, they're not going to have the fans in the stands to make the extra noise. But, when Pittsburgh and Baltimore plays, there's always it seems like the hits are harder. I don't know if that's true or that's just bias from watching those games, but there seems like a genuine dislike. They seem like one of the few real sports rivalries in the NFL. And
yeah, I mean, it's violent. There's no question about it.
And although Derrick Henry started getting it going today, that's a big man. He's hard to stop for an entire game. What the Steelers do best on defense is stop the run. What the Ravens do best on offense is run the ball. It's going to be tough. It's tough to go 7-0, no matter who you are. But it's a division game. It's a conference game. It's a huge game for the Steelers. And we've seen them look absolutely unstoppable this year. But we saw that also Minnesota, who gave up a second-round pick for Ngakoue, traded with the Ravens for a third-round pick. So the Ravens' defense just got a little bit better, which is kind of scary as a Steelers fan.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I would love to have Devin Bush in this game, obviously, with Lamar Jackson running around. But
well, I hope we have Spillane. I hope we're not down the third string guy.
No, hopefully not. But at our mid-season part, all of a sudden, our Tampa Bay pick looking a little bit better.
Yes. And they're going to have Antonio Brown unless something else happens.
They're 4-2. Looks like they're going to win today, and then they get Antonio Brown coming out when they get back from the bye, which is,
Well, they get him in game 9.
Yeah.
What are they right now? They're 6. This would be their 6th game today, or the 7th game.
The 7th game today. They're off next week, and they would get him
for
for
one more game. Their 8th game, and then they can play the 9th game.
Yeah. Now, I read an interesting article talking about, just the morality of football, and they were talking about Antonio Brown, and I think it's like every business. It's money and success is always going to rule everything. And he's, for the last decade.
If you get somebody with that much talent, you're going to try. Everybody, look at Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
You keep trying to rehabilitate these guys and keep hoping that they're going to come play for you, change who they are, and become just this great football player and a great person. So we'll see.
At least Josh Gordon has, the history of, the family abuse. And his thing is, more of an addiction thing. Where Antonio Brown has, assault charges and sexual assault charges and courtroom cases. And, as much as I loved Antonio Brown and I rooted for him very hard, and he was one of my favorite Steelers for a long time, he's not a great guy. He just... And, the Steelers... one of the best organizations, and that's a non-biased thing. I think anyone would agree with that. The Patriots, and even the new Raiders, who seem to know a little bit of what they're doing, all not only gave up on him, but ate cap money. Took on dead space. Is death in the NFL, and they all did it just to get rid of this guy. But he's so good.
Yeah, he is that. That's just who it is.
Yeah, so, if you have that much physical talent, the NFL is going to continue to give you chance after chance after chance after chance. And, if there's any way that they can bring you back, they'll bring you back. So, and again, if you add Gronkowski, who's got 2 touchdowns today, and it's starting to look a little bit like the old Gronk. They'll never be quite Gronk in his prime, but he's starting to look good. You got Mike Evans, you got Godwin, you got Brady. Ronald Jones is finally looking like the back they drafted. Fournette, that's a really formidable team, and that defense is flying around.
Yeah, and you're adding Antonio Brown. They're going to be special. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what games they have on the backside of the ninth game, but they're going to be. I think the game that comes back is the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Who did pull off a nice win today over their former buddy Teddy Bridgewater, the 3-point win in New Orleans. So congrats to them. But yeah, I mean, if you've got Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown in a 3-wide receiver set, who do you double?
Yeah.
Because those three are getting open.
Our other former Steeler, Le'Veon Bell, rushed for 16 yards on the first carry today.
Yeah. I mean, the Jets, as much as the Jets looked really good today, on defense anyway, is they did not let the Bills score a touchdown, and they were really frisky in trying to win that game, considering all the stuff that's going on with the Jets. But Adam Gase seems like, an absolutely terrible coach, and it's just a bad situation for Le'Veon Bell. And I think he's still got something in the tank. And again, it's a case of the rich get richer. And he's never really been. I think all you can say about Le'Veon Bell is he's a little bit of a diva.
He's a lot of a diva.
A lot of a diva, but
he left a lot of money on the table.
He did, but
he'll get a contract next year that won't be anywhere near what he has with the Jets.
No, and I understand the business of football and the business of business and the salary cap, but running backs find themselves in a really weird position where they have such short lifespans. So if you're an all-pro running back, your team basically gets to run you into the ground on a rookie deal, and then give up and bring somebody new in. And if you're the best player, like you want to get that Saquon Barkley money, you want that Ezekiel Elliott money, and you want to be paid for what you're worth. And I think it's just tough. It's difficult for running back, because I get it from both sides. If I'm a running back, I'm like, your plan is to run me for 300 yards or 300 carries, and if I still have something left in the tank, you'll franchise me and wait till the wheels come off and let me go. And I'm trying to secure, my piece of the bag. And if you're an NFL team, you're like, it doesn't make financial sense to do that for you. So it's a weird, I don't know I don't blame running backs when they hold out in that way, but I don't blame NFL teams for not wanting to sign them to long-term deals either. It's a really weird, messed up situation that I don't know what the answer is.
That's just one of those things. Are you excited about Tua becoming a starter next week?
I am. I think everybody likes Fitzpatrick. I thought what he said was very honest and very real.
He was very real. Talked about how disappointed he was, and there's a lot of people questioning the move because the Dolphins are, in the thick of things. They could do well in that division. It's a wide open division.
It is.
They're 3-3. Yeah, they're 3-3. I think. What is Buffalo 5-2?
Buffalo's
not far off. They're 4-3, whatever Miami is. I don't know.
No, and with the extra playoff seed this year, they're definitely in that. But at the same time, Fitzpatrick helped you in
they
four.
You put all the money in this guy, and the other rookies are all playing really, really well. And I guess maybe you want to see what you have.
I think you have to see what you have. And the other thing is like, Fitzpatrick is 35, 36, and he's had his shots. And like, we've seen we know what Ryan Fitzpatrick is,
And somebody pointed out today that Ryan Fitzpatrick has a mentality that if you go to 2 and something happens, Fitzpatrick's used to being a backup and going in.
Right.
So that probably works out.
And he knew he was being signed as a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
And he was the quarterback last year, and they still ended up with a top 10 pick. And almost everywhere he's been, he had that 1 year in Buffalo where I think they won 7 or 8 games. But, as much as you love his fire, his passion, he seems like a really fun guy that the team loves and fans love. Like, he's never really proven to be a guy you can really go very far with. And you can have, the game where he throws for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns and beats the Patriots. and then has 2 games in a row where he throws 7 picks. So, and I think he's a known quantity, you know.
Yeah.
And Tua was the number 1 pick overall until he got hurt, and he got him on your team, and you've seen enough of him in practice, and I like Tua's moment too. Did you see him where he just stayed on the field after the game? He had his 1 series and he just sat there.
That was a very good story. I mean, he's a very good person. I mean, I think if he turns out to be anything like we think he could be, he'll be like another Patrick Mahomes kind of thing. A really good guy that's a really good football player.
Exactly.
And people love those kind of players. Yeah.
And again, I think, I don't think you can dislike Ryan Fitzpatrick if you're an NFL fan. Like, he's a fun dude, unless he killed you in fantasy 1 week or something. Like, there's no way you can dislike him. And again, I do appreciate that he wasn't just like, it was nice to him say that he was hurt, like,
yeah,
it's real, it's honest.
Well, Clemson had in college football, Clemson had a close one yesterday. Ohio State looked dominant. Notre Dame looked dominant. Michigan looked really good. So some of the teams that were just playing, I mean, I was really excited to see Rutgers win a Big Ten game. I didn't think that was ever going to happen, so that was a big win yesterday. Liberty's an interesting story in college football. If you guys haven't followed Liberty, check out Liberty because they're creeping up. I think they're undefeated. They're not ranked, but they're undefeated.
Okay.
Cincinnati looked really good in the AAC. They pounded SMU, and I thought SMU could beat them. So some interesting things happen. Pac-12's getting ready to start. I don't know if there's any talent out there. I don't know if there's anybody that's going to be anything. Oregon's probably their highest ranking team, and we have to see. They haven't played anybody. They haven't played a game yet, and so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I think what I'm the most excited about is Adam Silver's announcement that the NBA will start their season Christmas week.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll play 72 games. And they'll be done before the Olympics. And players will be able to play in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And so I thought, he really hit on everything. What I didn't want to see the NBA lose was that Christmas week has always been great for the NBA. And I've always maintained that either Thanksgiving weekend or Christmas weekend should be the opening week for the NBA. It should be their traditional opening week. And Christmas is probably better than Thanksgiving because there's a lot of really good football on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
The NBA's always had these triple and quadruple doubleheaders on Christmas Day. So it just makes sense to start playing then. And then to knock 10 games off the season, I think is a great idea. I would have been okay with knocking off 10 more. But 72 games, and I think moving forward, this is going to be the NBA season. They'll start then and they'll play fewer games, and that'll be the new NBA season.
I don't see that happening. As far as the fewer games go.
Which part don't you see?
I don't
see them playing less games, or you don't see them starting at Christmas?
I don't see them playing less games. I think Christmas is a great thing in a weird way, but also a terrible thing. Because it's sort of the owners looking at the current health situation in this world and in this country and realizing that they're not getting fans in this year, most likely, no matter what. Or at least they're going to be limited fans. They're not going to have full stadiums. So I think they're just trying to minimize. They're just like, let's not mess up the following season. Let's get through this year, make it as best as we can possibly make it, and then ramp up and have a full 82 games, full crowds for the next season after that, which I know is a long time away. But I think that's...
We're on two sides of the coin here, so monitor this a year from now. I feel pretty serious about it. I think they're going to move opening day to Christmas. I think that's what they're going to do.
Oh, they may do that, but I think it'll be a full 82-game schedule moving after this year. I think this is, like I said, I think a lot of this is they're not going to have fans in the stands. They're not going to have, or if it is, it's going to be, 20%, maybe up to 50% at different points, hopefully. I mean, hopefully this is,
I think they'll open with fans. I don't know how many fans will open with, but they'll open with fans.
Right, but I think this is the owners looking at it saying, like, let's not ruin the following. Let's preserve the following year when hopefully everything is back to normal year. Like, they're sort of admitting that this year's isn't, I mean, under the best of
circumstances. They're also realizing, Jason, if they don't November.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
They don't. So going Christmas, most of the NFL is behind you.
Right.
The World Series is behind you. Everything's behind you. And you're dealing with a little bit of the NFL like you'd always deal with, but much, much less than you have.
Oh, right. I was thinking more of the into.
Watch it and really create a traditional opening day format and really get people excited. This is opening day, like the opening of football season, the opening of baseball season. Nobody's ever been really excited about opening day in the NBA.
No, I mean, that part makes sense.
Tie it into this week and do it. It might make a lot of sense. It might work.
No, I just don't think the 72 games moving forward is a thing. I mean, I'd like it to be. Yeah, but that's a lot of money to turn away from TV revenue, all that kind of stuff, to cut off 10 games. And I just don't see that happening after this season. Or what?
My point is that if the ratings are higher and the attendance is higher, the games are worth more.
Yeah.
And I've always said that.
Oh yeah.
So now we're going to get tested, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I'm excited that they're actually going to test this and see what they think it is. So we'll see where it goes.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God, Jason! I just saw a preview for a TV show called Candyland, where people are the places on the board. And they go through Candyland. It's on the Food Network, of course.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
It looked like fun. I just watched the commercial for it.
Well, Supermarket Sweep is back on regular primetime television. Another food-related show. So yeah. When the industry, game shows and reality shows, they're so cheap to make that you can make 10 of them for the price of like one regular show, and if 2 of them stick, you've already won. So that's why we see so many of those.
And with the exception of The Amazing Race, this is strictly my opinion. That's the only one that's like reality. The other ones are scripted. I mean, The Bachelorette and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Scripted. I mean, so if it's scripted, how can it be reality? Like Big Brother and
oh yeah. I mean,
stuff.
as sad as it is, there are writers for the Kardashian show. So yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I
think it's good television.
Fargo.
Watch The Vow.
Yes.
And there's going to be a second season of The Vow, and there's plenty to cover, so I'm excited about that. I've really gotten into Fargo. I think Fargo has been exceptional. I love the storylines. I love the acting. I love the casting. It's one of those things now where it's almost like this episode for me, almost like watching The Sopranos or Justified, something, or Ozark, where I would sit on edge for an hour.
Yeah,
if you could do that, that says a lot about a TV show.
And like I said, you've almost been convinced to go back and watch the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And again,
I'm willing to go back and do that.
And for the people in the audience, you never have to watch the movie. There is a couple of like little Easter eggs for you if you've seen the movie. And it's a fantastic film, so you should watch it regardless. But even the seasons, like, they're connected in the fact that they all have sort of the same, I guess, sort of writing style and humor and vibe. And they're all about, obviously, crime, people in over their heads, very Coen Brothers stuff. But you don't even have to watch them in order. Like, they're all independent 10-episode story arcs, and you get everything you want. But like I said, if you've seen them in order and you've seen the movie, you'll get a few Easter eggs here and there. You know, a person that was mentioned in passing in episode 3 of season 1, you get to know them more in season 3 or something along those lines. But nothing that you have to, you know. So it's a very small commitment just to dip your foot in and check it out.
Good advice.
And I finished Lovecraft Country, which I loved.
Okay. And I finished the 3rd day, which I probably wouldn't recommend.
Oh, okay. Something.
I guess, you kind of got to the point where you could see it. You're seeing how it was going to finish 2 or 3 episodes out. And to me, that's never a good thing. I am going to watch The Undoing tonight with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant.
Yeah, that looks interesting.
That's opening night on
HBO Max or HBO. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to Big Sky from the creators of Big Little Lies.
Okay. Well,
and that starts in a couple weeks.
For Halloween, we bought a Funko Advent calendar. And Funko are those little goofy giant-headed pop culture figures. And the Advent calendar is a horror movie one. So we just pop the horror movie. We pop it each day and we watch whatever horror movie it was. And we watched 2 Friday the 13th today. We watched the first 2. And this is something I did not know despite being a big horror guy. Jason doesn't get a hockey mask until halfway through the 3rd movie. Which is pretty shocking, I think, considering how iconic that hockey mask is.
It's very shocking. I think it's very shocking. Because you just assume that Jason's always had a hockey mask.
Yeah.
And I assist that.
Yeah. I was shocked. I mean, I knew the first one, there's a big twist. I'm not going to give away the first one. I just assumed he had it from the second one on, but he doesn't even get it till halfway through the 3rd movie. And I think it was one of those, like, just randomly, like, he gets it, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh, that looks cool. But it's sort of weird.
Yeah.
And the other movies we watched with our Advent calendar, the first one we got was the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which really holds up and is a very good movie. It's one of Johnny Depp's first movies. You could see him in a weird half shirt, which was cool at the time. We had Linda Blair, but we actually watched the Exorcist prequel from 2005, which was not very good.
No.
We had Jack from The Shining, and The Shining is still just a fantastic, holds up, good movie. Then we had, Lydia from Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, very fun movie. And we had It. And we actually watched the Tim Curry It instead of the newer It. And I have to say...
You watched the made-for-TV It?
We watched the made-for-TV It. Which
even... Think
it's even at 3 hours long, and that's the full TV miniseries. I think it's still shorter than both the other 2 movies combined. It has John Ritter and a young Seth Green. It's got the guy from Night Court. And then Tim Curry. And I think Tim Curry is scarier as It. As much as I enjoyed the new It, I thought Tim Curry was a much scarier It than the new It. The Sarsgaard It. I just feel like...
When the TV series was out, I thought it was very, very well done.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I would say is that it feels like the new movies, when you watch them combined as a 2, it feels like they drag a little bit. Like they have to like really just hamper home like how much it is affecting each one of them and keep going back to that over and over again. And this one, they also sort of get their own little moment and then it just goes. But otherwise, it's pretty similar. But Tim Curry is like, I just feel like because he looks like a clown that you could actually see in real life most of the time, that when he does go with his scary eyes and his body movement, it's a little scarier than, I'm trying really hard to be like an old ancient clown scary, is all I would say. It's worth a watch.
Okay. Did you see the clip of Borat and Rudy Giuliani?
I watched the whole movie, and I forgot to talk about that. It's fantastic. That girl is awesome. Did you watch it?
I just saw it. Well, I saw it free on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, you wouldn't think you'd want more Borat as good as the first one was. I think mainly because he had that HBO show or Showtime show, and it just didn't feel like it, in 2020 it would hit the way that it did.
Uh-huh.
But it does, and I think especially because his daughter, who's played by, I think her name is Maria Baklava in real life. I'm probably messing up the last name. But she is just absolutely fantastic. And it deals with a lot of sexism stuff. And then obviously the Rudy Giuliani clip, like, I don't know what he was doing with his pants down, but he still went into the bedroom. Like, you can't deny that part.
There's no way you lay down on your back to tuck your shirt in. I'm sorry.
No. And even if, he was very flirty and touchy with her during the fake interview.
He was.
And it's like, you still went... You're the guy of the mortal party and all this sort of stuff, and like you still went to a back bedroom with another woman. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, to pretend that there was nothing, even intention in that was just ridiculous. But it's definitely worth.
If you need a good laugh in these days leading up to the election, go to Amazon. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, go and watch the new Borat movie. I will be watching it probably today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Probably tomorrow or Tuesday.
And again, like, I mean, I know people like you couldn't believe the voice. People wouldn't stop doing it and the imitations, but it really does work again. It's great. So.
Yeah. My food moment was Eskimo Joe's in Stillwater, which is, Eskimo Joe's is a famous place in Stillwater. They also sell more shirts in the United States and I think worldwide than anywhere else. And I went in and looked at shirts again, and one of the reasons they sell so many shirts is they have so many special edition shirts, and they all benefit people. So they had one for teachers, they had one for animal rescue, and they had one for first responders. If you bought those shirts, a percentage all went to them. And so it's another way to drive sales because you can never have enough Eskimo Joe's t-shirts. But the food is just the bacon cheese fries are the best fries ever.
Okay.
And I mean, they never cease to amaze me. And whenever I took people there, I took Uncle Dan, Tommy, and my neighbor Jim, because we were on a golf trip. They had never been there, and they were blown away by it. They had very good food, but it's bar food. It's simple food. It's burgers. It's chicken. It's French fries. I mean,
But it's really good bar food. Yeah.
Really, really good bar food. We went to Oklahoma Joe's for barbecue. Went to Hideaway for pizza. So 3 non-fine dining meals that were very good meals.
Yes, indeed. And the Hideaway, for people, I mean, that's genuinely good pizza in Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's not exactly a pizza state. So.
Nope. And it's been there. The Hideaway's been there since 1957.
Wow. Yeah.
So. Well, next week we're looking forward to Steelers and Ravens. I'm looking forward to Game 5 of the World Series tonight. College football seems to get a little bit better each week. We'll see. Hopefully there's no more COVID virus and people are getting their games in and we'll see what's going on.
Yes, but make sure you are social distancing and wearing masks because we're having massive spikes all over the country again.
Yes, because it lingers, right, Jason?
It lingers and people, I mean, despite the fact that we have a preview from the rest of the world, we still seem to ignore all the symptoms and all the signs and just keep going about our day like nothing's wrong.
Hey, just as a warning, I was talking to my friend Giorgio, who lives near Milan.
Yeah.
And Italy had 20,000 cases this week.
Right.
So the second wave is back in Europe, which means that we'll see it here as well.
Well, you guys had one of the largest spikes in the country recently, Florida. I mean, not surprisingly, but yeah.
Of course we did. We probably have one at the villages now, too.
Probably so. So, wear your mask.
All right, everyone, if you haven't voted, go vote. And wear your mask when you go vote.
And keep your distance. And if you have to you can take pictures with a mask on. It's not going to kill you. Because that's kind of dumb to social distance, wear a mask, and then put your heads together, pull your mask down, and take a photo. It's really stupid. Stop doing it. All right. Off my rant.